Hey everybody, Cam Capital here with a video that's going to be on NFT stocks or non-fungible tokens plays. So they took off again this last week with TKAT, DLPN, and Playboy PLBY has been hot. So we got a pretty big bounce sector-wide this week. And so we'll start with TKAT. So TKAT's been probably the most interesting one because the company themselves have not put out any PR about non-fungible tokens, but everybody's speculating that they are an NFT play. You see here we're on the weekly chart. Let's go to the daily chart first. We'll stay daily and weekly time frames. But we got that big move from the end of March, right? So this thing took off, squeezed like a rocket, from the 2s to 74.11, and then pulled back, right? So anything crazy extended move like this, you're going to always have a big pullback. So using that fib level, the 174.1, the low at 35 cents, we came back, basically found support right at this 23.6 fib level on the daily chart, and you see that 23.6 fib is what was respected. Obviously here you can see that shown by the volume as below, really that $17 area, quite a significant gap in terms of volume, and that's pretty typical from the massive first day move that it had from the $5 mark all the way up to 25. So if you go up 5 times in a day, the volume is going to create a gap. But we found support at 23.6 fib and then took off this week. So red day on Monday, Tuesday got a test of the 9 EMA, poked it, couldn't continue momentum through it. Sellers knocked it down to 9 EMA, pushed it back below the 50, and then we got some continuation on Wednesday on very low volume, right? So 6.7 million on Tuesday, only 760,000 on Wednesday, so quite a bit lower. Pop this thing back over the 50 EMA, volume comes back in Thursday, Friday, end of the week. Able to close above the 9 EMA on Thursday, Friday. The open never went below the close price from Thursday, and we take off. So we pushed all the way up, basically back into the consolidated area from the end of March, beginning of April time frame, put it high in at 35.48, and you see we pushed through a good amount of supply zone here from this prior resistance area. So look to see if momentum continues into next week, and you see the volume a little bit better here on the weekly side of things. So we do have a drop in supply right above where we went off of, right? So if we can get through basically the high of the week, high of Friday at 35.48 level, 35.5, we could push up higher pretty quickly, right? This thing's shown that it can squeeze and move quick because it has a very small float. It's only about 6 million share float, and we can take off quickly if volume comes in. So that'll have to be watched. And then just candlestick wise too, on the weekly chart here, we almost formed an engulfing, bullish engulfing candle, just 5 cents off the top from the close, 33.05 here to open, and close this week at 33. So almost a bullish engulfing. So we'll have to see if the bulls are in control going into next week. And then here we'll go to Playboy. So obviously Playboy, the magazine company, Playboy Group, has been on a tear basically since the mid-March when that NFT craze took off. We'll go to the daily here. So daily, obviously we pushed all the way up, got all the way up to the 3 standard dev mark, and that's a solid pullback zone, right? So how standard devs work, between the two solid green lines, that's 1 standard dev. So 68% of the time, volume price is going to stay between that zone. You go out to the yellow, 95% of the time volume's going to stay between, price can stay between the 2 yellow lines, and then if you go out to the red, it's like 99% of the time stay between. So we got the first test pullback, and then you see here the last 2 days we moved out of it, but pretty big bounce here. We got this hammer candle, really protecting the $30 area, 31.6 right into the wicks prior, and then obviously here consolidated and bounced right off the increase in volume in the mid to low 30s, and quite the reversal on the weekly charts part of things, right? So big pullback last Friday, continued down on Monday, reversal comes in Tuesday, strong move back higher, right? So you could call this a 3-bar play technically. All right, so we get a kind of a piercing pattern back through with the hammer. Wednesday, huge follow through continuation on higher volume, right? So you could do your 3-bar play here. You got the hammer candle. We like to see the top of that candle break, or at least the open or the close price. You know, once the open on Wednesday happens, you go through the close price, look to go long, get through that, and then we're back out here to 3 standard dev extended, looking for a pullback. So we tried that $50 mark, got up 49.64, couldn't get it. Thursday, pull back to the 2.5 standard dev. Right, buyers are again coming in on the higher volume areas. The aggregation around 42. Friday we pushed this back up. You know, as TKAT was moving Friday, kind of pushing everything higher. Playboy followed it back up. Closed the week 47.5. So if we go out to the weekly chart, saw it on the first part, but still, even here on the weekly side of things now, we're really extended up to that 3 standard dev mark. So, you know, we could see some profit taking occurring once again next week. So I'll just have to wait and see if momentum continues. As you see, 2 weeks ago, volume. No, I mean, excuse me. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So not this week, but prior week, 38 million shares, dropping volume 22 million. So we'll see if that volume is going to come back next week. As it's the end of the month, could have some options, big option swings in play. Then we'll go to DLPN here. So DLPN up. NFT news, you know, with their partnership with Hall of Fame Resorts and Entertainment. You know, that caused this massive gap up and move higher at the end of March, the 23rd, 24th, really 2-day move, right? So I marked the high here. This 38 was actually the pre-market high between the 23rd and the 24th. And that zoom back was terrible. But, I mean, it's chart's very similar to TKAT, right? You put in that high, we pull all the way back. But here we actually got below the 23.6, and that's kind of the area where we're trying to get back to right now. But sold back all the way down into the gap, right? Didn't completely gap fill. Kind of used this candle here from February 11th, high 7.5. You know, kind of acted as a little bit of a base. You see there is still a volume gap between 8 and 7.5, but there is that volume sitting at 7.5, so that whole dollar mark held at 8 on really low volume here, right? So once this thing died out, volume completely shrunk, you know, back to 600,000 shares, popping back up on Friday with 10 million shares traded, falling TKAT higher. But you see we kind of pushed into the consolidated area, back into that overhead supply of high volume, just didn't have the continued momentum to go higher, but closed the week strong. So we'll look to see if that move will continue going into this week. See here on the weekly side of things, right, so just stair stepping down, big bullish engulfing candle here on the weekly. So the weekly side of things could look to keep going long from a candlestick perspective. You know, so we got through here. So if you play your next candle up, you know, I'd like to see the same, maybe get backed up to the $14.2 area, and then, you know, we'd have to cross this 50 and 200 EMA on the way. As you know, the chart doesn't go back that far, but a lot of volume here sitting in the, you know, $12.5, $13 range. So we're going to need the volume to pick up on the weekly, right? So the initial move, 246 million shares traded in 1 week, and then 20, 11, 6, back to 16. So we'll see this thing pick back up going into next week as the month ends. So that's what I got for you guys on NFT stocks that I'll be watching. Obviously, HOFV will move DLPN. It's found a base around $3 now at $4, you know, lower priced if those are your things. But these are 3 main ones that I'll be watching for next week. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Appreciate you taking time to watch the video, and we'll see you